Monday morning. Got some good sleep, got a shower this morning, got my iced coffee. Truckers bouncing off the walls in here. So she'll be taking a nap pretty soon, I'm sure. My phone holder's kind of loose. Anyway, I think I'll put this on my YouTube channel. Minnesota Sasquatch Trucker at gmail.com. In Illinois, I think. I better know where I am. Got like 42,000 pounds of, I don't know, I didn't even look at the shipping list, but I picked up from the Gatorade plant, so I assume it's liquids of some sort. I hate towing these heavy loads. God, I hate it. It's harder speeding up, it's harder slowing down. Minnesota Sasquatch Trucker on YouTube. For you people on Facebook, if you give a shit. And I've never said it before, because I don't want to sound needy. But when you watch this on my YouTube channel, give it a thumbs up if you like it. Go through my other videos too, and if you like them, give them a thumbs up. Because it puts me at the top of search lists more. Subscribe if you want to hear about new videos and stuff. Hopefully I'll start getting emails from people. But that friend of mine in Minnesota who has the invisible ones living behind his house sent me a text message last night. I can't read it because I'm driving, but said he went out back and he's talked to him before. And he was talking to him, he was asking him, "Who are you? I want to see you." And they've never shown themselves to him yet. I don't know why. Maybe some can't materialize. Maybe they're stuck in invisible mode. I don't know. Nobody knows. I bet the government knows, though. But he said there's a pile of rocks back there. And some of the rocks started moving or shifting a little bit. Like, he said, like something was standing on them. Or walked over them or something. And then they've scared the shit out of his dog before and made her cower. Made her cower on the ground, put her head flat on the ground, and just froze there. and she wouldn't come to him. But they did that to her again. And he says she doesn't do that ever, except for back there. And he said she was looking at something, like a few different spots. Like she would look and stare and look and stare, like she can see these things, because she cowers on the ground and doesn't move. And he said he could hear them walking, but he still can't see them. But he said by the way his dog was looking, he thought that there was one or two or three or more around him. How's that for scary? So yeah, they've done that to him before too, he said. They kind of like surround him or something. But they've never done anything to scare him, or have never showed themselves. I don't know why. Don't know why. Maybe they still don't trust him. But they should by now. I mean, he's lived there for a couple years. I'm going to let him know to put some more things out there on a log, like the bobber and the spoon and the golf ball, I think. I'll have to double check on that. But they got moved from on top of the log down onto the ground in the same position they were up on the log, and one thing was missing. I think the bobber. They took the bobber. Maybe they needed it for their tackle box. So anyway, I need to get out there and see what's going on. I'm a little nervous about it. Not a little, a lot. You really shouldn't go searching these things out because they just want to be left alone. But I think because Jim lives there, they have respect for him, and he has respect for them. So they haven't done anything to him or his dog. They haven't damaged anything on his property. They do slap the side of his house. He just blew it off before. He thought it was his house settling or just something. He didn't know. But after because he didn't know anything about Sasquatch, nothing. And when I told him what that was, the light came on. He said, because to me, he's heard houses settling before, and it's kind of a snap or a pop, not a boom or a bang. He says it was pretty goddamn loud to be a house settling. He says, but I didn't know what it was. So now he knows. Anyhow, I need to get out there and see what's going on, experience something. If I'm going to have this YouTube channel, I need to have a little more experience on the subject, so to say. Because a lot of people who are into this have seen one. So they want to share their experiences with people. I've seen, they took pictures of teepee structures. I know they're out in the mine pits in Crosby, Minnesota. That's where I found those. I was looking for my drone that I lost. And you know, come to think of it, I went out there 2 times looking for it. The 3rd time I found it. This thing, my drone, now that I think about it, I didn't think about it till just now. It was sitting. It was right in the middle of the road. It was an older road at one. It was a road at one time, and there wasn't even little saplings growing there yet. But there was tall grass, kind of tall grass, because I saw the drone pretty easily. But that is pretty strange now that I think of it. It wasn't upside down, nothing. It was just sitting there right in the middle of the road, and I just so happened to come up that hill on that little cleared pathway, or roadway. Path of least resistance. I wonder how, I mean, it could have landed there by itself, very possible, but what are the chances? Lots of people have reported stuff like that happening. Missing objects show up in obvious places for people to find. So yeah, that's kind of crazy when you think about it. What are the chances? A big chunk of woods out there, and it just happens to be right in the middle of this trail. So anyway, and there was teepee structures out there, and a big X structure, and an area where a bunch of 4 to 5 inch round, I think they were poplars, were snapped off about chest high. They weren't cut, and all of the tall grass was trampled down. Like I said in the video, it looked like a football team was playing tag out there or something. But I don't care how big of a football player you are, you're not going to be snapping off young trees 5 inches in diameter, chest high. I mean, if someone's going to push a tree over, they would, like that, they'd have to climb way to the top and then hang off of it and try to bow it over and try to make it snap somewhere. But that didn't happen. That's not how that happened. People have better things to do. It'd be enough work just to do one of them, let alone a dozen of them. Makes me miss my Camaro. Going to pick it up next week. We get out of this Lumbering Dinosaur International and drive my hot rod around for a few days. I'm going to go down to Prairie Grove Battlefield in Prairie Grove, Arkansas, and visit the battlefield where my great grandfather, William Booth and William Booth, fought a battle there. Father and son fought a battle together in Prairie Grove, Arkansas. So I gotta go check that out because my dad has been down there, and my nephew Jason's the one who reminded me about it. So it's something I gotta do. Dad would be happy. Miss you, Dad. So anyway, some traits, some guy on Wes's channel, Sasquatch Chronicles, he passed away, but Wes was able to interview him before then. And this guy shot a Sasquatch right in the chest at 3 feet away. He said they were about 6 feet apart, and with his arms out with his pistol, that made it about 3 feet, and let him have it right in the chest. And he described the expressions on its face before, during, and after being shot. He described the pinkish, gurgling blood out of its mouth, which happens from being shot in the lungs. He described the sounds that it made. He thought the thing was going to tear him apart and kill him. He said the thing was half aroused and started pissing on him. He said as he was standing there, he felt something on his legs, and he looked down and seen this thing was urinating on him, and it was making a noise and had a look on its face like it was getting itself wound up to attack. And this all happened within a matter of seconds before he decided to pull the trigger. So that was a very, very interesting interview. And this old fart, there's no way he could have been making this stuff up. I mean, he described this thing like so many other people have. He said he couldn't see its mouth because of its mustache. So some have facial hair like mustaches and some don't. But he described the muscular build on this thing, and he described it as useful muscle. He wasn't muscle bound like an Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. It was more of a basketball or football player's build. Slim at the waist, broad-shouldered because of its bone structure. But he said you could see the muscle tone was just sinewy and forceful, powerful, and boy, what a thing to see, man! 6 feet in front of you, holy shit! Now he was still questioning his own mind as to what he shot. He said for years he had kind of thought he had shot a man. And every day he was waiting for someone to come knocking on the door to arrest him for murder. He said that was his favorite fishing spot for 30 years. And he didn't go back there for about a year. But if you haven't listened to Sasquatch Chronicles on YouTube, check it out. These are phone interviews, live interviews with people. And what finally gave him validation was he was talking to another lady, Sasquatch researcher, and she reassured him that he did not shoot a man. And he said at that point he was completely relieved of all of the guilt he had felt for 40 years. Because he had validation from somebody else that it was not a man. It was a forest people, a Sasquatch, a monster. But he thought this thing was going to rip him apart, and that's why he shot. He said if he would have been across the road or across the field or a little more distance, he wouldn't have shot it. But he was at point blank range, face to face with this thing. And it was huffing and puffing and had a partial erection and was urinating on the guy. That's why he pulled the trigger. Even if a human being did that to you, you would surely pull the trigger if they were that huge, or if they had a gun. I mean, if you had a gun and another human didn't, and they were doing that, you probably still wouldn't shoot them. But yeah, he said this thing was so huge and so menacing and acting so menacingly. He thought it was either, if he was going to die, he was going to go out with a bang. That's exactly what he said. Really good interview. And he's an old guy. I mean, for 40 years he kept it a secret. He's not looking for any notoriety or anything like that. He just had to tell somebody. Finally, he had the opportunity. He said because years ago they didn't have the internet, and he was going to the public library trying to find information on these things and trying to find a good photograph, and he couldn't. So he couldn't get any answers. But then he started searching the internet, and he said, thank God for YouTube. It changed his life because he's able to relieve that burden on his mind about what had happened. So anyway, there's a little Sasquatch talk this morning. I'm not stealing stories or information from anybody. I completely divulged who and where it came from, so you can listen for yourself. I suggest you do. And Steve's channel, The Facts by How to Hunt, he gets thousands and thousands of emails. He's got 2 email addresses that are overflowing, backed up with emails. He can't keep up with them all. So take some time, do a little listening, decide for yourself if these people are all lying or if they're all telling the truth. Personally, there's probably one out of 500 maybe that someone is manufacturing a story. And if so, so be it. They need to get a life. And if they are doing that, they're probably being paid by the government to spread disinformation. And who cares if that one idiot, that one troll is doing that? All the rest of those people are able to get their story off their chest and share it with the world and let everyone know the truth. Fuck the government. They keep so many truths from us, you guys, you have no idea. No idea. Like I said before, Randy